Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. In this episode, we're going to talk about the Xbox 360 is going away from Games with Gold. So that means that your monthly free games on Games with Gold on Xbox, the 360 titles are going to go away starting October 1st. So basically, here's the full statement from Microsoft. Beginning October 1st of 2022, the monthly games provided by the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and Xbox Live Gold members via Games with Gold will no longer include Xbox 360 titles. We have reached the limit of our ability to bring Xbox 360 games to the catalog. However, Games with Gold will continue to include exciting Xbox One titles and exclusive savings each month. This will not impact any Xbox 360 game that you've downloaded before October 2022. Any Xbox 360 titles that you redeem via Games with Gold before that time are yours to keep on your Xbox account, regardless of whether or not you continue your subscription. Thank you for being a loyal member. Team Xbox, blue. So that, I mean, I guess it's understandable, but that kind of sucks. I like the older 360 games, and they haven't reached the end of their catalog because there are some 360 games that are backwards compatible that have not been included into the Games for Gold service. They still have till October 2022 to put them in there, but there's usually only one 360 game, so we're talking like what? It's July now, 3 months, so that's not a lot of 360 games to put in there, but we're going to go around and see what anybody thinks about this. Shane, what do you think about the 360 games going bye-bye?
All I can know is, all I can tell is you're visibly upset by this, and it worries me. It does bother me because the 360 generation was, for Xbox, the better generation. It is better than Xbox One's generation. Is that right? Is that one? Their naming conventions just suck. But the 360 generation had a slew of amazing games. And that just means some people won't get to play certain games. Now, if you've downloaded games you like, then you get to keep them. That's great. But I wish they would have continued longer, at least until they got all the 360 games out there, for people. But it is what it is because, they've got to look forward to the future. It's probably easier for them to do with Xbox One games and Xbox Series games. God, I hate the naming convention. So hopefully it doesn't diminish the quality of what you're getting because that's, like I said, 360 had better games, plain simple. That's not an argumentative detail. That's just fact. I preferred the games on 360. And that's just me, though. But I wished they would have continued a little bit longer. I love the back and pat on the Xbox. I will still jump in and play old games. Nick will definitely jump in and play old games. He'll jump in and play really old games. Pat will just say we're stupid and he only wants new and shiny. But that's Pat, so it's okay. I'm not surprised, though. So, Microsoft's going to do what they got to do. Their games at Gold and Game Pass and all that is going to continue to thrive without 360. It's just kind of a blemish to me. I wish they would have done more Xbox original games and put some of them out there sometimes because they had some great ones too. So, but I'm not heartbroken. I really am not because it's not too many 360 games that they've done in the last 6 months that I have downloaded because they really got all their greats, almost all their greats done, but there's still several that are missing. So what about you, Pat? You're not a go back and play again kind of guy, but what do you think?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I don't ever pick up the 360 games with Gold. What is nice about those, and if you are a fan of that, is that, whatever you think about what's happening now, is that when you were a Games with Gold member and you picked up one of those 360 freebies, even if you canceled your subscription, it was still your game. It was a free game. That's what you got as part of the membership. So I don't think they're axing that. They're going to let you keep what you've got, is what it sounded like from all the stuff that Nick had just read off and that we'd read. So, there is that. And they've mentioned that it's becoming more cost prohibitive for them to do this, to basically convert these games and make them back back compatible because they've already ended that program, right? They're not adding anything new to the backwards compatible because of that. They've reached the end of what they can do technologically and monetarily, right? Because they just have to pay. I'm sure they have to pay these publishers something to do this to their game to make it available on the newer stuff. So it's a business thing for Microsoft. And to be honest with you, I always forget about the games with gold until I'm like, oh yeah, Games Gold, what's free this month? And I'm looking at what's free that came out the first half of the month and then what's free the next half of the month. I often forget about it if I'm being honest. And I'm like, oh crap, I missed it. Or, oh, I don't care about that game. So, I mean, to me, it's no big loss, but I understand the retro people out there. It's probably a really big hit to them because that's where you get some of that stuff. I mean, it's really sad to hear 360 called retro, but, you know, I mean, pretty old now. So, but, you know, that's kind of a one of the things that a lot of people, I don't know, maybe they might lose a very small subscriber base over this, but I don't think they're going to lose too many subscribers over this. But there are people who probably subscribe just to get those free older games every month and download them from gold. You know, I imagine because you can still get gold separately from Game Pass, right? I think it's like pretty cheap. It's like lower cost, but so they probably, anybody who's probably just subscribed to gold for that purpose will probably kill their subscription off, but Microsoft's probably anticipating that. I don't know what percentage of their subscribers are just gold versus Game Pass and Game Pass Ultra, but it's understandable to some extent, but that's coming from somebody who Shane has said, I'm not going back and playing this older stuff. I have hard enough time going back playing older games that have come out on the current gen console because I just have too much in my backlog that I want to play that's current and out. You know, and not to mentioning there's so many things out there that aren't even released that I'm eyeballing that I'm like, oh, there goes another thing to add in my back catalog. You know, I've got so many games that I own that I have never played. And I got games that I have borrowed from Shane and Nick that I have never played that I need to play, you know, so I have too much stuff right now to even care about backwards compatible. And I have no idea how Nick plays any retro games with the amount of backlog because his backlog is more massive than my own. And I'm like, how the hell do you find time to play this cool new game or this cool game that came out in the last year and then let alone go back and play some Castlevania or freaking, you know, anything. How do you go back and find the time to play that? Because I'm like, I guess I can get a little bit less sleep. Maybe I need to sleep only 4 hours a night instead of maybe 5 or 6. I don't know.
Nick
sleeps
sleeping upward with the controller in his hand. I swear to God.
And his thumb's moving. Sleeps. You know, his eyes are open. His brain is playing video games while he's asleep. He's like, oh yeah, I played that game. So that's just me. It's not really going to affect me that much. And yes, but it is going to affect someone like Nick more so than me and Shane to a lesser extent than Nick. But to me, it is whatever. I always bypass those 360 games, you know? So Nick, man, how heartbroken are you?
Well, I'm not as heartbroken as you might think. You can still go out on the store and buy these 360 titles. I always grab the games for gold, and you know, the 360 titles haven't been really that grand of titles that I've been wanting. And the titles that I do want that I have in my wish list, you know, where I'm either hoping they go on a really good sale or they go in the games with gold, and they're not there and they haven't been there, right? So it's like, you know, you haven't reached the end of your, you know, you reach the end of what you're going to offer. You haven't reached the end of what you can, because there's a lot of backwards compatibility 360 titles that you have on there that have not been a part of that service. So it sucks for that I'm not going to have a chance to get it for free, right? But even though, I mean, I guess technically you're not 100% getting it for free because you still have to pay for it in a sense with your monthly subscription. But, you know, the value of the game is more than that subscription. But I guess the only thing that sucks is, you know, right now we get 3 games, actually a total of 6 per month, really, if you think about it, because you get 3 at the beginning of the month, and then at the last half of the month, you get 3 more. So is that going to go down to 4 now? Or are they going to still have 3 and 3, you know, just not an Xbox 360 title, but 3 Xbox One titles and then 3 other Xbox One titles. So, you know, and I'm wondering if this is more of a push for Microsoft to basically eventually end the games with gold and just be Game Pass, and that's it. Because if you think about it, you get free games, quote unquote, with Game Pass, right? and you're paying a subscription, but you're getting these games that rotate out ever so often for free, and the way they kind of look at it, even though you are paying a subscription. But these aren't free to keep, unlike the games with gold, which are free to keep. Right. So it could be that they're looking to, probably not anytime soon, but I would say maybe in a couple of years, get rid of games with gold completely. So that
is going to suck because that is a good point, is that the games with gold are yours to keep even when you unsubscribe from Game from Gold. So Game Pass games are not yours to keep. If you download them while you're subscribed and then unsubscribe, you can no longer play it. You can't get it, and things like that. And Game Pass games are not stationary neither. And what I mean by that is they're rotational. So they may have a game out there that you want to play that may not be there in a month or something. Usually they're on there longer than that, but there's games that Game Pass is a revolving door of coming and going games. So I see this, if they do get rid of gold, I do see that as a loss for the service, because as Game Pass, you get gold. So you can pull the games in, so I would see that as a loss if they got rid of that, because sometimes you're just like, I really like that game and I don't own it yet, so I'm going to get it and download it, and now I'm going to get it through Games with Gold, and now it's mine. So if I want to play it even after I cancel my subscription, it's still mine.
Yeah, I didn't even think about losing those 2 games in a month, so that makes it worse. But I don't think there'll be ramifications from it to the extent where people drop Xbox and Game Pass and Games at Gold and all that. I just think it'll piss a few people off. They may have already anticipated, and they've got some old Xbox One games they're going to replace with. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But it still sucks. I mean, there's a huge, great back catalog of 360 games that's just going to get shorted out for people. And Pat, you should really go and watch Nick play some retro games, because he does it in his sleep. I know he does. I'm going to have his girlfriend set up a camera. We'll just watch him one night in his bed.
That's our new YouTube streaming right there. Is Nick sleeps, but Nick's not really sleeping. Nick is playing video games in his sleep.
Game sleeper
in my sleep.
Nick's going to be the new YouTube sensation, like the one guy who would let people pay to wake him up. You remember that guy? Sleeping guy would make noise and stuff.
He also lit fireworks in his room. I think it was that same guy on the 4th of July.
Good Lord.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, because I think PlayStation's kind of doing this, probably going to go in the same route, right? They did do something with their PlayStation Plus, their free games. They got rid of something a while back with that free game catalog. And now they have their subscription service. So I wouldn't be surprised. Now, granted, this will be quite a few years down the line. They're not just going to pull the rug right away. But I wouldn't be surprised if Xbox and Sony get rid of their free games and go strictly to their subscription service, and that's it. Right? Because, I mean, at a business sense, it makes more sense for them to keep with that model and not give anything for free that you can keep. That was a cool thing to start out with, but now they've gone into the Netflix of gaming, and Microsoft went there, and we all love it. We all love Game Pass, and now Sony's starting to follow suit. I have their service, the Sony service as well, and it's got some pretty good and some decent stuff on there, especially if you like especially like they had some retro games on there and stuff like that. But the PlayStation 5 titles that are on there, even though they are kind of older titles, they are kind of nice. There's a Ghost of Tsushima director's cut, and Death Stranding director's cuts on there, and Returnal's on there and stuff like that. So as Sony starts to maybe lessen the price of that service, and also introduce more to that service. Because, if you think about it, if they can roll it out, that service like Microsoft did, Game Pass, when it started out, wasn't so great either. It's turned into a great service, but it started out kind of rough. And so has Sony's system, it started out kind of rough. But if they start to really roll with that, that'll be a good option for Microsoft and Sony as far as their streaming, or not streaming, but Netflix of gaming type services. And I could see them getting rid of those. Keep these games free services eventually. But so this could be as far as Microsoft goes, this could be the beginning of that. getting rid of the 360 catalog. And like I said, it'll be interesting to see if we now just get 4 games instead of 6 a month. And then, eventually maybe down to 2. They're going to run out of Xbox One games and only have like some old Series X games or something like that they're going to do. And then eventually just end it all together, right?
Yeah, that's going to be happen. That's going to be interesting. But yeah, Game Pass was kind of crappy when it first came out. I mean, I would subscribe for a month to play the stuff that was in there, and then there would be nothing, and I would unsubscribe for multiple months and come back. And then there was a shift sometime, I can't remember, it's probably a good year or so after it came out. And then I'm like, wow, they're starting to add a lot of cool stuff. And they're starting to add day ones. I think it was when they started adding a lot of newer stuff. And then I've been a subscriber since with no lapse in my subscription service. So,
and I can't think of a month that I don't go and download 1 or 2 games minimum. So, just trying things out that's what I think my favorite part about Game Pass is. Just we have found so many just unusual games that we typically wouldn't try, and just hell, why not? And we either hate them or we love them. So, but I will miss my 360
and now that
games.
And now that I have Ultimate, I can pick between, is there something on PC I want, or is there something on the console that I want? So, there's a good plethora of it, and that was a good move for them. And, so it's, I'm not going to be too broken about it, but I can see where some people would be upset. They're going to lose that. They're going to lose that 360 gamer. Like Nick, he's been waiting forever for these certain games on his list to hit that rotation. And there may be some monetary reason why they can't hit that rotation. Maybe they don't, they can't pay the developer, the publishers, the money that they needed. So, that there may be some monetary reasons why, because I'm sure most of the games that come to there, they have some type of contractual thing written up with the developers or whoever has the game, so that they can put their game out there for free, whether they pay them per download or something like that, or they just basically say, hey, we want to put your game and feature it on Games with Gold, we'll pay you X or something like that. Who knows what the contracts look like? But I could see some people being upset over this. I'm not going to be, but I will be upset if they eventually kill off the whole thing eventually.
Yeah, but I don't think that'll happen for a while. I really don't. I think until they can get a hell of a market going on Game Pass, I think they'll keep it around for quite a while still. But we just have to wait and see.
I agree. I think it'll be around for a while. And like you guys said, it might piss off some people. It doesn't really make me mad. It's just what makes me mad is the games I want are not going to hit that rotation more than likely. And it could be. I mean, there's 2 that I really want, and they're $20 a pop, and I really don't want to spend $20. The original Xbox games, they're $20 a pop, and they never seem to go on sale. So I'm like,
which ones?
Hoping. I think it's called Otogi and Otogi 2. They're from Software. They were Xbox only games back in the day. So yeah, I never knew about them until recently, and I was like, wow, these look pretty cool. And so I wanted to play them, and I learned they're on backwards compatible, but they're $20 a pop. And I'm like, man, that's expensive. Hopefully they come on the service, but
you need to go to GameStop.
Yeah, maybe I could find it. I could find the disc. I don't think I've ever seen the disc, but maybe I could. All right, you guys have anything else you want to add to this before we wrap it up, before we get rid of our recording?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Make sure down in the comments below, let us know, do you pick up the Games for Gold monthly games? And do you pick up the 360 games? And if so, what do you think of this? What do you think of the 360 games going away? By October, they'll be gone. Hopefully they'll have like a last hurrah in October where they'll just like put out 6, 360 titles or something like that. Right. Just all in there. Like, this is the last ones. Here you go. But anywho, I mean, still, it sucks that those are going away, but let us know what you think down below. I mean, you can still buy them on the marketplace. They're still going to be there. You just won't get them for free. But let us know down in the comments below what you think of it. And make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time. We'll see you next time.
See ya.